Hey guys, it's Rodimus Primal. I am back with another video, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about a little interview that Travis Knight had, where he actually talks about Bumblebee being a reboot. So, I got a lot to talk about, so sit back, relax, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and let's transform and roll out. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk to you guys about, I want to thank Larkin's Lair for sending me a gift card to be able to get Bumblebee on Blu-ray. I was able to do so, and maybe I might do a little bit of review on the motion comic and the physical comic that comes with the 4K version, because it kind of brings the movie into into territory that could make it a prequel. But that's not what happens in the movie. Travis Knight actually sat down with Moviefone, and he had an interview talking about the different things that he did in making the film, including about how he decided to kind of forego the Michael Bay franchise as far as continuity is concerned. So let's open this up. Alright, so looking at this actual article, as we're reading it, as I was reading it, looking at Travis Knight had talked about how he went from the, directing things like Kubo and the Two Strings, and how he wasn't really thinking about doing Transformers as a live-action film for him to direct. But when he was brought into it, one of the things he says he wanted to do is he wanted to bring the things that he loved about Transformers, which you can see. He says, So I saw the opportunity for me to tell a meaningful story about these characters that I've known and loved since I was a kid and had Transformers toys. I watched the cartoons, I read the comics, I've known these characters and loved them since I was a boy. So to be able to tell a story about these characters that I've loved and apply all that to stuff that I've learned in animation and a medium I've never worked in before, it's exhilarating and it was exciting and it was also terrifying. But I've gone through it and I've worked at these extraordinary people. It was really, really deeply gratifying. And let me tell you something. It was gratifying watching Bumblebee from a perspective of somebody who loved and cared about Transformers, and having him direct and set the direction and the tone for Bumblebee. They talked about, as the article moved on, one of the things that he talked about was, and this is kind of a little bit of a spoiler alert, but as Shatter and Dropkick were introduced, they actually kill human beings, but they don't just blast them like they do in Michael Bay's films, like Kelsey Grammer getting killed by Optimus Prime. No, this is a little bit different. Instead, what happens is Dropkick ends up shooting a human being and it turns him into goo. And the reason why they did that was because it's kind of funny in Travis Knight's eyes, and what he was also trying to do was not trying to make it too gory. So he even said it's like there's a comedic element to it. It's still kind of fun, even though it's gross and awful. You can watch it and you can give it a little bit of smile in the corner of your mouth. But that was the idea. It's horrific and grotesque, and that it was communicated that in a way we wanted to, in a family-friendly way. So it kind of it allows them to cross the line without crossing the line too much, considering what the Decepticons are actually doing to human beings. But the most interesting thing that he talked about was this thing right here, and that is, what about the mythology of the Transformers films that's already established? This is the first time Bumblebee has been on Earth, and just one movie earlier we saw him killing Nazis in World War II. What was your thinking about wiping the state clean? And he says, continuity is very important to me, as it's being consistent, and so I did take a good hard look at the films that had been done in the past. And as we were thinking about this movie, I still wanted to the movie to be self-contained. I didn't presuppose any familiarity with the films or the franchise. I wanted someone who wouldn't know anything about the Transformers to be able to sit in the theater and to watch this movie and have a good time and enjoy the movie, not knowing anything about the Transformers. And that said, it was important to me that if we were living in this universe and this mythology that it's consistent. At some point we realized that we were essentially boxing ourselves into a corner, that we were making choices that weren't really in the best interest of the film, and if we were trying to kind of sit within the overall mythology of the franchise. Once I talked through some of these things with the producers and the folks at Paramount, and some point we made the decision that it was really the story that we're trying to we were telling, we would have to talk, as the best we can. And if that means that we were essentially restarting the franchise, that means we're rebooting these characters, and they were taking aspects of the franchise and putting it into a different prism on it, then that's what we had to do. And ultimately, it was a liberating choice, because then we weren't cornered into these decisions based on what we had come before. We could tell our own story, and that was the aspect of that. So basically what he's saying, and I might have messed up on some of the words, but so to speak, he's literally saying is, we tried to make this a good movie, and the more we tried to shift Michael Bay's continuity into the movie, we were actually removing elements. The whole idea, the first thing they had to do was they had to remove Megatron from being at the fall of Cybertron, and they couldn't put him in the Hoover Dam, because all of these aspects trying to insert those things in made it really difficult for Travis Knight to tell a good story. And as he's trying to tell this story, and the more you read this article, you realize he wanted this movie to be really good. He wanted Bumblebee to be a good movie and a standalone movie, and not have to be bogged down by the fact that, okay, well, we initially conceived this thing as a prequel, and we really can't fit it in as a prequel and make the movie good. And because to a lot of people, like Michael Bay's films, there's the continuity is so all over the place that trying to make this movie fit in just doesn't quite work. Now, I've said I've enjoyed Bumblebee, and I probably think it's the best live-action film of the entire live-action film franchise. I still think the 1986 movie is the best of them all. Maybe I'm biased, maybe because, I saw the 1986 movie in theaters. But to me, Bumblebee was a good movie. And there are elements to it where a lot of people didn't care for it, because people didn't want the teen angst and, wanted more action to happen. I think the action sequences in the movie were good. Some people thought that there wasn't enough explosions, and that's probably what, the producers are saying, is they want more popcorn action. And, sometimes you need a balance between good action, good storytelling, and you need to be able to tell a good semblance of a story within the universe that you're trying to tell. And personally, I think Transformers movies need to move in that direction, and I think Bumblebee was a really good step in that direction. I enjoyed it, and I am glad that Travis Knight is opening up and saying that, yes, we tried to make this part of the Bay franchise, but as we were making the movie, it didn't work, and now it is pretty much considered a reboot. It's considered a reboot to Hasbro, to Paramount, and pretty much everybody is saying that this is the case, and they could make a sequel off of this and make a good movie as a sequel, and I think we would be in good shape, with the franchise moving forward, and have Decepticons and Autobots who look like Transformers, and we can get to know these characters. I think, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, Transformers need to be the stars of the movie. They need to be the characters that we care about. They need to be the characters that we're following, and any human character involvement needs to be like a subset of like they're attached to a Transformer, they're with a Transformer, they're hanging out with a Transformer. They are not the main cast members. The main cast members should be the Transformers themselves. But I want to know what you guys think. What do you think of all this little bit of Transformers news? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Of course, like this video. I've got a new Transformers discussion video coming soon. I've also got my second channel, Rodimus Primal Talks, where I'm talking some other geek stuff, and I've got some stuff down the pipeline for that channel as well. You can check me out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you want help support the channel on Patreon. And as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.